Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Administrative Matters meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. As is our tradition, we shall begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. My name is John Kafalis, Commissioner from District 1, currently the Board of the County Commissioners, the Board Chair, I'm joined by my colleagues Kristen Stevens from District 2, Jody Sheddock McNally from District 3. Across the way we have Elizabeth Carter from the Clerk and Recorder's Office taking notes and recording the meeting. Of course, it's a public meeting that is also broadcast and folks can watch and listen in from home. We have Lorenda Volker, our County Manager, Tom Clayton from our Public Affairs Office, and of course Sarah Martin from our Commissioner's Office, who does all kinds of great work. Well, they all do. With that, we'll begin today's agenda. The first item on the agenda is public comment. I just received the sign-up sheet, the clipboard. No one has signed up. Sarah, has anyone registered to offer public comment via phone or perhaps via email?
No, Commissioner.
Oh. You ought to tell your neighbors to come on down and offer public comment. We've had a bit of a dry spell lately. It either means we're doing things really well or could mean all sorts of things, I suppose. But before we close public comment, I just want to make sure if there are folks here in person who may not have signed up who wish to offer public comment, you generally have about 3 minutes to provide input, share your opinions, your thoughts. Is there anyone here in the Commissioner's hearing room who wishes to offer public comment? Seeing no hands raised, we'll close public comment and move on to approval of the minutes. Let's see, the minutes for September 9th last week. Commissioner Stevens, would you do the honors, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of September 9th, 2024.
Excellent. Thank you kindly. Any discussion, any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That passes 3-0. Next item on our agenda is a review of the upcoming week schedule. Sarah, that one is yours.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for September 23rd through the 28th. On Monday, September 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., there will be a work session regarding early childhood services in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be land use items with the Development Review Team. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. On Tuesday, September 24th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. On Wednesday, September 25th, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Sheddock McNally may attend the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting at the Rocky Mountain Innisphere at 320 East Vine Drive in Fort Collins. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Sheddock McNally may participate in the virtual Big Thompson Watershed Health Partnership meeting. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Commuting Solutions US 287 Quarterly Coalition meeting. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioners will host a virtual 2025 budget webinar for Larimer County employees. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Sheddock McNally may attend the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Larimer County Leveland campus at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland, or virtually via Zoom. From 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fair Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland, or virtually via Zoom. On Thursday, September 26th, from 9:25 a.m. to 9:35 a.m., Commissioners will participate in the virtual Flood Review Board interview discussion. From 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host a community conversation for the Red Feather Lakes community. Guests will be Commissioner Stevens and Larimer County Extension Director Carrie Weiner, who will discuss Larimer County Extension and Canyon Lakes Ranger District Acting Ranger Rebecca Stokes, who will discuss fall recreation and give updates regarding forest health, and this will take place at 58 Firehouse Lane in Red Feather Lakes. From 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Cavalis will attend the Red Feather Lakes Planning Advisory Committee. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it's at 44 Firehouse Lane in Red Feather Lakes or virtually via Zoom. From 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it's at 2260 West Trilby Road in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. From 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Counties Inc. Wildfire Roundtable meeting. From 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Colorado Department of Transportation Non-Attainment Area Air Pollution Mitigation Enterprise meeting. From 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the City of Fort Collins Northern Colorado Trail Summit at the Agave Room at 149 West Mountain Avenue in Fort Collins. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it's at 300 LaPorte Avenue in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Open Lands Advisory Board meeting at the Horsetooth Information Center at 4200 West County Road 38E in Fort Collins. On Friday, September 27th, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioners will host a virtual Community Leaders Town Hall regarding the Larimer County 2025 budget. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioners will attend the Conrad Ball Awards ceremony at the Fort Collins Country Club at 1920 Country Club Road in Fort Collins. On Saturday, September 28th, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Cavalis may attend the Family Center / La Familia Fiesta Party at the Lyric at 1209 North College Avenue in Fort Collins. That's it.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, do you have any questions, comments, adjustments? Commissioner Stevens, anything?
Yeah, I do have a couple things. So I'm going to try to attend on Wednesday, September 25th. I think we got invited to the Meet Me Vos at North Ozentland Center. I'm going to try to go for at least a little bit before the Fair Board meeting. And then I will also attend the Family Center La Familia Fiesta Party on Saturday, September 28th.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, any comments?
Yes, thank you. I also got that invitation for on September 25th for Meet Me Vaz, and I will be attending that at the beginning as well, and also be attending briefly on the La Familia event, just stopping by just for a moment at the beginning because I have some other activities that day, and I think that's all I had. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Just a couple of thoughts regarding the Red Feather Lakes community conversation. Sarah, if you could go back and make sure that we have the interim district ranger, her title correct, who will be attending from the U.S. Arapahoe Roosevelt National Forest. I don't believe she's not an acting ranger. If you could kind of fix that, of course. Thank you. And I'm also planning to attend, I think I should mention it. So on Friday, September 27th, there's a birthday party for Sergeant Jack Thurman, who will be turning 99. And I've been invited to attend. I believe it's It's in my calendar, 1 to 4, something like that, at their house in Loveland. Oh, and yes, thank you. I think that's all.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
may I just add, sir, I know this is probably just a typo, but on Fridays, it says commissioner will attend.
Oh.
The ComEd ballot should say commissioners, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move. Thanks for your work, Sarah. We'll move on now to the consent agenda. There's a updated consent agenda. As I've stated in the past, and just as a reminder, the consent agenda typically includes administrative matters, routine, not necessarily needing a full discussion, although commissioners can pull an item from the consent agenda. So I'll go through this somewhat quickly. If folks want the details of the documents that we're signing that are referred to in the consent agenda, all of that information, all 260 pages of the packet are on the website. So with that in mind, the first category is abatements. There are 2 petitions for abatement or refund of taxes that exceed the allotted amounts of $10,000. One pertains to, well, actually, both of them pertain to, let me step back for a moment. They are both a little bit different. The first one is a petition for abatement or refund of taxes exceeding the dollar amount of $10,000 applying to tax year 2023. The second item listed under abatements is amending the order for denial petition for abatement or refund of taxes for account number R0341029. This is reversing the decision that we made on July 30th, 2024. This particular petitioner has requested a hearing to present evidence with the referee on October 28th, 2024. So we're pulling back on that decision so that person can have an opportunity to provide evidence regarding taxes owed and all of the rest for October 28th, 2024. So that's a bit different. And that applies to assessment that was applicable to tax year 2023. Moving on, we have agreements. The first is a drainage agreement between Larimer County and Allied Waste Systems Incorporated. This is a drainage easement agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and Allied Waste Systems. The term of this agreement begins July 16th, 2024, in perpetuity. And again, it has to do with drainage and easements. And if you're really interested in all of that, it's you can read the document. It's got quite a few exhibits and all the rest. The second agreement is between the City of Fort Collins and Larimer County to document municipal separate storm sewer systems, MS4, construction oversight responsibilities for Fort Collins, Loveland Water District's Zone 5 waterline project. My understanding of this, well, this is an agreement, a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Fort Collins Loveland Water District. They are building a 24-inch pipeline, and this is to make sure that all the responsibilities are spelled out. The terms of this agreement: start of construction approximately this fall 2024 to the end of final stabilization approximately fall of 2027. Again, this is between Fort Collins and Larimer County because it's on Fort Collins property as well. The work will be done by the Loveland Water District, Fort Collins Loveland Water District. There's no dollar amount. The third item is also an MS4, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Memorandum Agreement between, in this case, it's between the City of Loveland and the county for Highway 287 and 57th Street Sidewalk Placement Project. Project number 8096, requesting approval of an agreement with the City of Loveland that documents the responsibilities regarding the MS4 permit areas where there's overlap. The terms of this are fall of 2024 to the spring of 2026. Completion of the agreement is dependent on achievement of ground stabilization with vegetation and weed management. No dollar amount is involved. Moving on, professional services agreement P24-07 regarding snow removal services. This is an agreement to provide snow removal for a variety of county buildings, including the Justice Center across the way, and certainly our administrative services building. And this is between the county and AKS Snowco LLC. The terms are October 1st of this year through September 30th of 2025. Total dollar amount, well, I guess it depends on how much snow we get. But I'm certain that there is a detailed budget to provide these services. We want to make sure that folks are safe when they come onto our properties. The next is really kind of exciting. Number 5 is a 2024 SNAP Process and Technology Improvement Grant. SNAP is an acronym, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. In the old days was referred to as food stamps, but our Human Services Department submitted a grant to the Food and Nutrition Services, USDA, and this grant is in the amount of $653,266, and it basically will help us to, well, the grant approval letter that we reviewed is, the funding is a process and technology improvement grant, and I understand that this will allow us to purchase a mobile unit that will allow for a lot more mobility being out in the community to help people access SNAP benefits if they're eligible and all of that. So that's pretty darn exciting. And the terms of that are September 24th, 2024 and September 30th, 2027. Perhaps this unit can align with the Poudre Library District EV electrical van and go out together so people can access good, nutritious food and read a couple of good books. Next, we move on to deeds. Deed of dedication for Allied Waste Systems. Excuse me. Dedication of property as a public highway pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes. I won't cite the statute. This is dedicated in perpetuity between the county and Allied Waste System. Next, we have deed of dedication for right-of-way purposes from the Stanley Heights Property Owners Association, Inc., to the county. Similar public rights-of-way as approved by the Stanley Heights Property Owners Association at its August 11th meeting, annual members meeting. This is in perpetuity, and I think this formal dedication of the roads as public rights-of-way is required for the potential formation of a PID, Public Improvement District. I only have one lens in my glasses, so no, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, I'm not kidding, but stuff happens. Liquor licenses. Liquor license renewal, Ellis Ranch. Ellis Ranch Event Center and Wedding Park. This is a renewal. The type of license is a tavern license approval and issuance. Second is liquor license renewal for the Branding Iron Liquor in LaPorte, Colorado. Oh, the previous one is, of course, in Loveland, west of Loveland there. This is a retail liquor store license approval and issuance. Number 3, liquor license renewal, Cherokee Park Dude Ranch, Livermore, hotel and restaurant approval and issuance. The fourth and final liquor license special event permit, 6%. Well, this seems like an exciting event. We all might help celebrate Oktoberfest. A Lederhosen team rally. This is a fundraiser for Caring Hearts of the Red Feather Lakes Foundation. And this is, again, a special events permit up at Red Feather, approval and issuance. Moving on to miscellaneous, we have a couple of stipulations. These are adjustments to the property value. We have 4 of those. Again, I won't get into details, but you can read about it. Sorry. And then finally, under miscellaneous, this is important. This is regarding the abstract of assessment. This refers to Colorado Revised Statute Title 39, Article 5, Section 123. And this is to approve a corrected version of the abstract of assessment. I believe there was a typo and nothing substantive at all. Did you want to speak to that a little bit, Lorenda?
The assessor is here as well if you have any questions, but this was an error from the computer system, and so it's not substantially different from what you approved before, but it is different and does require your signature.
Thank you, Lorenda. And again, in the description that I have before us, just for people's information, and thank you for the county assessor to be here and make sure we get things right. The abstract of assessment is a compilation of all real and personal property located within the boundaries of the county. And as the chair, we need to sign the corrected version. Finally, this is a resolution adopting amendments to the Larimer County Land Use Code. This was August 12th, 2024. We had a public hearing. My recollection is a lot of this is technical changes that periodically we'll do to clean up some things that our community development folks and our planning folks identify. So that's a resolution requesting approval, and that is all. Colleagues, do you wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Nope. Then Commissioner Shattuck McNally, please offer the motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda for September 17th, 2024.
Thank you, Commissioner. That is indeed a proper motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. We now move on to, in the agenda, it lists that our Ranch Events Complex Director, Conor McGrath, was to be our commissioner guest and provide us with various updates. The ranch currently is, and also to have the Larimer County Posse come in for all their great work. But in light of the Pearl fire, the ranch folks are needing to help provide some sanctuary for large animals that may have been evacuated from that part of the county. I also wanted to mention that my information shows that the Joint Information Center is open. I have that number somewhere, but perhaps somebody has it at their fingertips. But the Joint Information Center is currently open, and that would be a good source of information regarding the current status of the fire and evacuations and all that. Does anyone have that number? Commissioner Stevens, thanks.
Yeah, that number is 970-980-2500.
Thank you very much. And what I have here, thank you. This is for information about evacuations and community resources. The U.S. Forest Service took command of the fire at 6 a.m. this morning. A new size containment update is not yet available. The most recent we have is 130 acres, 0% contained, but I'm sure that's changing as we speak.
The fire command will change today, just as a quick update, and you will sign as the chair once I get the paperwork declaring the local disaster, and then we will formalize that decision next Tuesday on the consent agenda.
similar process or the exact same process that we undertook during the start of the Alexander Mountain Fire.
That's correct, yes.
Yes. Thank you. So we look forward to seeing Connor McGrath when he is able to join us. We'll now move on to discussion items. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. The first one is also kind of exciting, a proclamation declaring September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. This was submitted by our Assistant County Manager on behalf of the Overland Trail chapter of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And I believe we have Ray. Todd, were you going to come up and say a few words?
If you want.
I totally want, yes. And then we'll do the proclamation, and then we can ask questions or offer some comments. And good morning and welcome. Please identify yourself for the record.
Thank you. My name is Ray Todd. I am a member of the Overland Trail chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution. A relative new one. I was just inducted this year. And it's exciting to see the mission of Constitution Week and Daughters of American Revolution are historic preservation, education, and patriotism. And this was formally declared by President Eisenhower in 1956. And the day that we are observing this starts this, is the day the Constitution was signed. There is only one memorial in the United States dedicated to the Constitution, and that's the DAR Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Ray. That was very interesting. How about colleagues? Do you have any questions of Ms. Todd, or perhaps some comments at this time? Yes, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
First, thank you, Ms. Todd, for coming here today. I saw several of your colleagues and friends, peers at event. They were getting on the radio to talk about Constitution Week, and I told them that I always have my mini Constitution close by up here, and also and other things, just so people can see that I take that very seriously. And I just wanted to thank you for coming here today and for bringing this proclamation forward for us. I think it's a great time for us to remember what a fantastic and important document the Constitution is, and it's a good chance to raise awareness and make sure folks are kind of reflecting back on how much that document is powerful and how much it means to our country. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Commissioner Stevens, any comments or questions that you may have before we read the proclamation?
Yeah, Ray, it's nice to meet you. Thank you for being here this morning. Are there any other events that you have around Constitution Week, or are there any other things that you're planning?
And not within our chapter. We do have an event happening the end of this month up at the Livermore Church. We have been approved and will be placing a historical plaque at the church.
Nice, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing forward this proclamation. Having visited Constitution Hall and the National Archives in Washington, D.C., I know how crucial this is to the founding of our nation, and to have a document that can be changed when necessary to provide additional rights for our residents or our citizens is really important. But to have that basis as part of our country is pretty remarkable. And I had a professor once that said, the United States is the only country that was founded on ideals. So other countries were founded because of language and borders, but our country was founded by these shared ideals and these liberties. And so really just want to thank you for calling attention to that. And, when you go to the Archives Museum in D.C., people are gathered sort of in awe around the Constitution. And it's just kind of remarkable to see how not just only our citizens, but people from across the world really look to our founding documents as being, the sort of founding documents of modern democracy. So this is really important. Thank you for bringing this forward, and thanks for the work that you do to educate people and for people to understand their civic duties. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say a couple of words. I don't have any questions, but I'm glad. I typically carry this around, to be reminded of how important this document is in protecting our freedoms. And I certainly appreciate the Overland Trail chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. One of my favorite events is when you all do the event up at the American Legion Hall in LaPorte to honor students who have done some really great, amazing civic work, and that's always a fun. It's very kind of you to invite us to be able to participate and be inspired and hopeful of the young people. Also, regarding the event you mentioned at the end of the month in Livermore, if there's a way to let us know, I'm not sure when that is, but I would try to make an effort to be there.
Be glad to provide that information.
Great, thank you kindly. I believe we can move on to reading of the proclamation, and I think. Thank you. Commissioner Stevens, would you please do the honors?
I will, Mr. Chair. This is a proclamation for Constitution Week, September 17th through 23rd, 2024. Whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, now therefore be it resolved that the Larimer Board of County Commissioners, on behalf of all residents of Larimer County, does hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our residents to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained.
Excellent. Would you please offer the motion, Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the proclamation declaring September 17th through 23rd, 2024 as Constitution Week.
Great. That's a proper motion. Before we vote, I just wanted to comment regarding your question of events and activities. I'm reminded that I believe on Saturday, September 21, I don't have the details, but I think the Veterans Plaza of Northern Colorado is doing some type of event to honor Constitution Week. I think if you go to the internet and look that up, you can get the details of that. But I believe it's on Saturday, September 21. I wanted to share that. Any further discussion, colleagues? There is a motion on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. And guess what, Ray Todd? It's time to take pictures. So we'll take a pause for a couple of minutes. I'll take off these glasses, which are only half functional, and we'll take a picture. Okay, welcome back, folks. We took a pause for a couple of pictures. We just had a great conversation about the importance of recognizing Constitution Week and certainly embracing the freedoms that we have in this country and recognizing that I think one of our responsibilities with freedoms and rights come responsibilities, and one of them is to be always vigilant and making sure that we are upholding the traditions that we hold dear. We have a second discussion item, acceptance of the, and this is great, we have a bunch of folks here, acceptance of the Colorado Green Business Network Silver Level Award for 2 county buildings, and also Silver Level Award for becoming a SolSmart community. Welcome, Ms. Pruis. Would you please introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Heidi Pruis, Manager of the Office of Sustainability and Climate. Thank you very much for allowing us to come before you today with this good news. I'm here today with my colleagues from County Facilities and County Community Development Departments. We are with you to celebrate the acceptance of these 2 silver awards for our collective county work towards energy efficiency and increase in renewable energy use. Our Climate Smart Future Ready initiative has focus area in the built environment. That is also part of our strategic plan. So all these things are linked together. This focus area is working on many actions. Among them is the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. In Larimer County, building energy use comprises 65% of our countywide greenhouse gas emissions, and therefore these 2 efforts being celebrated today are in alignment with us meeting our goals to reduce those emissions. The awards are as follows. First, the Colorado Green Business Network Silver Level Award for the county's Justice Center and the administrative buildings for energy efficiency and sustainable operations. The second award is the SolSmart Silver Level Community Recognition for reduction in building energy use through the promotion and use of renewable energy. So I would first like to invite up Ken Cooper to highlight the Green Business Network Award, and following Ken, Eric Freed will come up and share more details on the SolSmart Community Recognition.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heidi. Well done. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ken Cooper with the facilities team. I'm here with Matt Townsend, and actually Kaylee Clift is here as well. They really spearheaded this for our department and for the county on the building side of it. Matt's got a few things he's going to talk about specifically that helped us get to this point. I did want to mention that, and we shared this recently at the measures meeting for the board, that for years the county took part in Fort Collins program for ClimateWise, right? And in this, sorry, I've already lost the NOCO Biz Connect program replaced that. And so we were at platinum level in that program for many years, over a dozen years. Where our hope is to get past the silver. So we had that as a sort of an initial start this year. But this program, they hired Monarcha, which is a third-party sort of administration folks that helped us through that. Kaylee and Matt worked very closely with those groups to get us here. But we're looking toward the future as well and what we can continue to do. Matt's going to talk about a couple things that special projects that helped us there. So thank you.
Good morning, Matt Townsend, Assistant Facilities Director. So I just want to kind of recap what the Colorado Green Business Network is. So it's a voluntary program that encourages, supports, and rewards organizations that make the move towards the goal of true operational sustainability. And John, I found these on the way in. I can't hardly see a thing, so I feel your pain, but hopefully I look smarter.
I looked for the lens, but I couldn't find it. And it'll take a couple of weeks.
The goal of the Colorado Green Business Network is to support organizations throughout the state at any level of implementation and increasing the efficiency and sustainability of their operation through assessing opportunities for growth, recognizing success, providing connections to the like-minded businesses throughout the state. So it's a pretty neat program. We're happy to be a part of it. It was the first year, right? So it was a big learning curve on our side. I think big learning curve on their side as well. Abby helped us out quite a bit, so thank you, Abby, for that. We're super happy to pass the buck to Abby next year because it was a bit over our head. We kind of went into it thinking this was more about like just kind of facility efficiency stuff, right? But truly it was an overall county sustainability program as well. So we learned a lot about how the county's operating on the sustainability side of things. We were able to offer a couple projects that helped us gain the silver recognition for this building as well as the Justice Center. One was the Rose Garden, which was a fantastic project for us. Heidi, do you have the notes on that one? I know I did the bullet points, but now I forgot what they were. It's okay if you don't, but that was one of the main projects, as well as a boiler replacement efficiency over at the Justice Center. And I know that was like an 80% efficient piece of equipment, and we bumped that to a 95% efficient equipment. Chad Fry was a big part of this as well. Chad is our maintenance supervisor. He really manages all of our mechanical equipment throughout the county. He works hand in hand with Train, who's our vendor, and they're constantly looking for ways to increase our efficiency through all mechanical systems. He handles all the set points throughout the county. So we're always watching those, trying to become more efficient, right? But also be good stewards of finances and watching budgets and whatnot. And then Kaylee, of course, Kaylee does a really great job of entering a lot of our data for our what do you?
And Matt, it would be wonderful to hear from Haley.
Yes, thank you. I'd love to have her speak.
Yes, so every single year.
And who are you, please?
I am Kaylee Clift, the admin for facilities. Yes, so mainly what I do, I'm responsible for what is called benchmarking within the state. I don't know if you're aware, but that's where we send in our utilities every single year. And then eventually they will make standards for our greenhouse gases that we'll have to file into compliance for. I'm not sure the timeline on that. But for me, and what I know is that I get to take our lovely data and submit it to the state before they give us some rules and really regulations on that. Because of that, I was responsible with this program for also administering the data within that electric uses, the water uses. That was my main goal.
That's great. Thank you so much, and thanks, Matt.
Okay, so Heidi provided me with the bullet points. So water reduction, Rose Garden project, 37% water reduction usage, or 18,850 gallons per year, just on that project alone. Energy savings behavior and procedures, replace 80% hot water boiler with 95% efficient, and then all the set points that we're constantly monitoring. Environmental purchasing program, preference points for non-hazardous, non-toxic, limited packaging, reused source materials. Design, build materials, prioritizing sustainability, building certifications and practices. Environmental initiative, sustainability committee. Diversity, inclusion, and equity practices, employees training offered countywide. So those are just a few of the bullet points that helped us achieve silver. I think next year we're definitely going to get gold with those two running the show. And hopefully we'll be able to add in a few more buildings as well.
Wonderful. I think before we move on to our next presenters, our chief building official is here. Perhaps, colleagues, do you have any questions or comments for these folks? Commissioner, please.
First off, thank you all for being here today, and congratulations to everyone. I just wanted to say, Haley, nice to meet you. Matt, well done. What can I say, Ken? You're amazing. All the things you do to make our buildings look beautiful, new, not used, and just the way you support your staff to do great projects like this. Heidi, Abby, Eric, Matt, and I'm sorry, I don't know the person sitting next to Matt, but Jen, thank you all for being here. And Rebecca, it takes a team to do this. It's really, you had brought this forward. That was something we might want to do. And I really appreciate the work and the collaboration, the teamwork. It's impressive that you guys all worked across departments and programs to kind of achieve this. And I know, Eric, you had presented when we first started talking about this. So thank you for that. I think we know when we came on board as a Board of County Commissioners, we had taken this framework that you all had worked on, and Commissioner Kafalis had initiated, and then we just accelerated. We brought Heidi on. Heidi brought Abby, and then we've just been getting this great work done. And we know we needed to act now to kind of build this resilient future, that we're really focused, and even the county being powered by clean energy, and not just for our community, but for generations to come. And even I'm really excited, we're even looking at geothermal project. And I got to learn a little bit about Gunnison County's projects, and that was really fascinating. I'm like, yeah, we're doing that too. But it's every local decision that we have made, and this project and going for this designation, and we're working towards renewable sources and looking at our greenhouse gas emissions. It's just a step towards a healthier county, healthier state, healthier planet. And you all are really making some legacy decisions and helping us get in that direction. And I just want to thank you all for your hard work and dedication and your collaboration. And I know when we harness the power of our amazing staff and work with our community and work with local policymakers, there's just nothing we can't do to kind of help transition to this more sustainable future. And we don't want to leave anyone behind. And when you brought up the equity piece, we don't want to leave anyone behind. Everyone's a part of this better future. And I just want to say, like I said before, the actions that you've all championed and worked so hard and diligently, and to celebrate today getting silver, and now we're going to, looks like we're pretty confident we're going to go for gold. It just really, you're shaping our future. And I hope you understand how important that is and how grateful I am and appreciate your hard work. And I know together we're going to accomplish even more great things as we continue to implement and try to get this action plan and climate dashboard showing some great results. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. This is really important work. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, do you have any questions or comments for these folks?
Just want to say thank you for the work. I know it's difficult to do retrofitting kind of work in older building. I have an older house, so I'm very familiar with the challenges that come with that. But, well, first of all, people don't think the building's older because, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, it's been kept up so well. But really, to make progress in an older building is pretty remarkable, and to do the work. And we know that buildings and energy efficiency is a lot of the space where we really need to make changes to be able to lower our carbon footprint. So this is really great work. Kaylee, that entering the data is a huge piece of that, right? Because we don't get qualified for things unless we show the improvements we're making and give them our numbers. So I know that in a lot of these programs, that's a big piece of it, and it's a reason that some companies don't want to comply or don't want to participate, is because it's a heavy lift. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and just kudos to you. And as Abby pivots to take this role over and see what future efficiencies we can make, really appreciate, kind of even digging deeper. But the water savings and the energy efficiency is really remarkable. And what we're trying to show with these kind of programs to the community and other businesses is that this can be done. There is some cost savings to do this, and it's the right thing to do. So, but I'm glad we're looking inward at doing that work, and so I appreciate your efforts on that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one question and a couple of comments. First of all, extending the gratitude, a few additional exclamation points for the team effort, and I appreciate, Haley, that the benchmarking thing is really critical, so we know where, what are the thresholds that we need to kind of strive towards in terms of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I really appreciate very much we appreciate, I'm sure, all the amazing landscaping that is happening at the Administrative Services Building, and I really like the Rose Garden. I try to stop occasionally and pause to take time to smell the roses, so thank you for that. That helps. I want to extend our gratitude to your grounds people, in particular Newland, who's out there all the time figuring out what are some water smart plants that we need to be putting in there, and putting in more mulch, and taking out the Kentucky bluegrass where we need to. So I think everything looks great out there. And two other points, I seem to recall that during the Rose Garden, we were able to secure perhaps a $20,000 grant from the Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District that was putting out funds, resources to help with landscaping and doing what we were doing. So that's a great collaboration. And I think one other thing that I'll mention is, and I don't know if folks have noticed this, but I believe our commercial landscaping company, when they go out and mow the lawn and do this or that, they're using electric equipment. And there are reasons for that. I mean, there are some incentive programs the counties participated. So I think that's really, really great. And I guess a shout out to Abby and Heidi, because they have really shepherded this thing a lot over the years. And I think it's really important that we walk the talk as we try to engage the community and what we can all do, what our collective and our individual responsibilities are. It's important that the county walk the talk, and which is and also the internal sustainability stuff that we're doing. And we have this really great a newsletter that comes out, and I think that's really important. My question is this, and maybe this will help us go from silver to what's the next step from silver? Gold. And that is, what's the time frame for installing the EV chargers at the county administrative services? Are we still planning to do that? And what is that time frame? And will that help nudge us up to gold, along with other things that we may be doing?
Yeah, we haven't. We don't have the most recent dates on that, but that piece is in process. So yet this year we're going to see those changes. And I don't know if Heidi has the most recent.
By the end of the year.
Yeah.
To actually have those
I want to say
things
it's November, but I don't have exact date on it.
to have them installed.
Mm-hmm.
And these will be level 2.
I think 2 are level 1 and 1 is level 2. Is that right? 2, yeah. 3.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I would only add that we appreciate all the comments very much. Appreciate the support. The support that we get from Heidi and Abby internally is tremendous. I've been in organizations where it's much more of a kind of a push strategy, and here it hasn't been that way at all. Heidi, from the start, has been very much about a partnership and being very supportive on all the things that either were happening or could happen, going forward.
Great.
The other piece of it is certainly, and I've mentioned this many times in front of this board, but the partnership that you provide, and certainly from the county manager's office too, but the funding that's required to make these things happen. We don't have to compete day after day against other priorities that the county has with things that are in place financially here is tremendous advantage. And so that really is a big deal, and helps kind of form the framework that that moves us all forward. And so we appreciate that very much. So thank you.
Thank you. At this time, shall we invite Eric and other folks who want to present regarding the SolSmart Silver Level Award? Yes, Commissioner.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to, since we have an award, I'd like to ask if we can take a photo. I'd like to take a moment to celebrate and document the great work of our employees that have worked so hard on this. And I was hoping you might be considering taking a photo with the award, et cetera. Thank you.
Well, I reckon we ought to take a photo at the appropriate time. Good morning, sir. I know you know the routine, if you would be kind enough to introduce yourself, perhaps some of your colleagues.
Eric Freed, County Building Official. I would invite our Operations Supervisor, Jen Fling, up here, but she's concerned you're going to make her speak, and she's a little bit shy, so that's on you, Commissioner. But let me explain a little bit what SolSmart is and what this award is, and then the other people that really need the credit for this. SolSmart is a national organization that offers training and best practices and consulting on making it easier to deploy solar energy facilities, both solar permitting and inspections and things like that. And one of the ways they do that is by recognizing good work, which encourages other organizations to do good work. So they rank cities and counties around the country at a bronze, silver, gold, and now they have a new platinum level. And they have a whole matrix. So you need to get a certain number of points and mandatory credits to reach certain levels. They will look at things like, do we have a standalone solar permit application? Yes, we do. Can you apply for that permit online? Yeah, we have that as one of our online permits you can apply for. They have training for permit technicians, for plans examiners and inspectors, and it depends on whether your staff has taken that training, and we have taken that training. But they also look at things like, does the city or county itself develop solar resources? So here the credit has to go to the board and previous boards of county commissioners. People may not know, but there is a solar photovoltaic array on the roof of this building, which was put in when the building was built, and that gave us certain credits. There's also a solar ground-mounted array at the county landfill. And hopefully in the future, as we build more buildings and as the budget allows, we'll develop more solar at existing and new buildings as well. So we applied for the credits, and they looked at what we had, and they decided we already had enough credits to get to the bronze level, but if we did certain things, we could go right to the silver level. And one of the things they wanted us to do is to develop a robust solar landing page, which is now live. If you go to the building department's website, there's a button for solar information. You go there, it has not only the online application to apply for a solar permit and some of the information there, but it's got information on credits for solar, how to find a solar contractor, a lot of information about solar. So this award is not just for the building division. But let me say, it's also the planning department has a lot to do with it, because they looked at our land use code to determine if the land use code was solar friendly. Are solar photovoltaic facilities allowed in every major zoning district? They are. Are there any impediments in the land use code to solar? If there are, then you try to see how you can get around those impediments. So the planning department was a critical player as well. So in terms of who else should get the credit for this, I want to recognize Jen Fling, who's our operations supervisor. As with a lot of things in the building division, she is the unsung hero. Because my name goes out on building permits and certificates of occupancy and contractor licenses, people think I do all those things. The great bulk of the work happens because of Jen and her team keeping things running behind the scenes. So I like to say that I get the credit, but she actually runs the building division. On the planning side, they had to look at the land use code as well and analyze that and see what might be impediments. So, of course, Matt Lafferty, our principal planner and godfather of the land use code, deserves credit for that. But also attending online, we have Jared C., one of our county planners, who was the main point of contact in the planning department working with me. And this is only possible because we have the complete support of our department head, Rebecca Everett, who's here. But also, of course, as has been mentioned, Heidi Pruis and Abby Stapleton were critical in terms of the overall shepherding this thing through. And then the facilities department has a lot to do with it as well, because when the commissioners decide, for instance, that you want to put solar on a building somewhere, that's easy enough to decide. It's the facilities department and their contractors who actually facilitate that. So, and future development of solar. So I want to make sure all those people get credit where credit is due. And which is very timely, this sign arrived just yesterday in the mail. This is our SolSmart Silver designation. So it'll be up to you to decide where you want to put that. There's a number of places it could go, possibly by the front door with the Energy Smart banner you already have. So we're happy to get silver. That puts us in good company. There's been a lot of talk on the other award of how soon they can get to gold. We'll have to see. We already jumped right from nothing to silver. Gold may be a little tricky only because it involves our permit processing system and automating solar permits, and we're going through a whole intensive process right now with IT on redoing our permit processing system. So we don't yet know how that could work, but that's a mandatory credit. But we'll keep working to get better and become more solar friendly. And there is a lot of solar photovoltaics going in around the county. So it's just great to get this award, and thank you for your support.
You're welcome. Thank you for your presentation, Eric, and we won't ask Jennifer to come on up. Although when we do pictures, you'll probably have to come up along with Matt and Rebecca and actually Heidi and Abby and all the rest. Colleagues, do you have any questions or comments for our county building official? Commissioner Stevens, any thoughts there?
I don't know if I have any questions because you had introduced this before, and I just really appreciate you and way to go for just leaping right over bronze and heading for silver. I didn't know about the site that was dedicated to solar, so I think that's really important. I recently put solar on my rooftop, and those kind of resources were really valuable. I mean, I live in the city limits of the city of Fort Collins, but, being able to go to a website and check out people who do this work and see, who's recommended and how to get the rebates. I mean, all that kind of stuff is really important. And right now, I don't know if those and maybe you can answer that question, are there still tax rebates from the federal government if you get solar? Because I got about a third off my
Right. I
solar.
believe they're still active.
Okay.
And even before we put those on our solar website, Heidi had put a bunch of information like that on the sustainability.
Where to go, and then it is fun when you get it to see how much energy you're saving, especially in the summer. You're they're kind of paying you. But this is a great way for us to really encourage best practices in our community and to get people on board. And when people are asking what they can do to, how they can do their part to address climate change, this is a great option for folks. And like I said, it is a great time to do it because there are tons of rebates out there, and tax rebates. So great work, thank you, and that's all from me.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
I had didn't know we were going to get to talk twice, so I kind of crammed all my comments for all of you into one thing. So, but still, it all just, thank you, Eric. You presented this and had us go for this designation. And also just, I want to say this Green Business Network Silver Level Award and this Silver Level Award just shows already the county had some good best practices in place. And it's just so heartening to see our employees. I mean, I can see the excitement and kind of the pride, and it just really heartens me that I know we can even do more and keep working towards more goals. And we're kind of hopefully showing others that it can be done. And so I appreciate the work that you're doing, because I know we have influenced other communities to go for this and to try to do things to the southern part of the county, big changes that haven't been there before. And so once again, I just say you're all making decisions and leading in a lot of ways that are leaving a legacy and making a big difference throughout the county. And I just want to thank you for all your work. And this is really above and beyond your duties as assigned. And thank you to Rebecca and Ken and everyone for supporting that work, because I know your plates are already full. And so going for some of these things is kind of extra things on the plate. And I just really value your work and your teamwork and your leadership. So thank you all.
Thanks, Commissioner. I think I have two questions, and again, thank you. So when you're the last one to speak, sometimes everything's been said, and which is fine, which is totally fine. So my questions are, and I think you probably already answered, but maybe you can expand, and that is, how will this Silver SolSmart designation make a difference in people's lives in our community?
Well, hopefully the idea is to sort of broadcast that Larimer County is open for business with solar development and is friendly towards solar development. And maybe that will encourage others who were on the fence or thinking about it or weren't even thinking about it too. I should look into that. And if you get the rebates, that helps make it affordable. I went through the same thing when I put solar on my house. And it will save a lot of greenhouse gases, especially because you're developing clean, free electrical energy without having to burn natural gas or coal. So as more people develop solar, it will help with greenhouse gas reductions. It will help with climate stabilization. It also, the more people do it, it helps develop the market. More people get into the market. There's economies of scale, et cetera. So the idea of the designation is both to recognize, but also there are resources available. There's the training that we can take. We can look at what other counties and cities are doing, hopefully learn from that and continue to improve our solar practices.
Thank you, Eric. And you make a good point. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in the community, and I'm reminded that just, I think within the last month, we approved a 1041 permit application on consent, which doesn't often happen, consent. This was for a 1.4 megawatt solar array southeast of Wellington across the highway, I believe, 11 acres. So that's an example. Earlier in the summer, Platte River Power Authority, and I think that gets a lot back to our energy efficiency, but Platte River Power Authority is trying to get their coal-fired plants offline, and they had a groundbreaking ceremony out towards Alt. I think it's something like a 250 megawatt solar array that will be part of their portfolio to try to move towards carbon neutral. So all of that's obviously very important. My second question, Mr. County Building Official, and I believe you alluded to this, but and Heidi knows about this. So there was an email about applying for some grant dollars for some software, Energov, or something having to do with automatic solar permitting. And I think we're trying to work internally on our IT systems. But can you say a little bit about that? What exactly does that mean? And will we be able to potentially access some funds that might move us towards an even more streamlined solar array permitting system?
Right.
Thank you,
There's an
sir.
app. It's called Solar App, and it helps automate solar permit processing. And we get approached all the time and encouraged. We really got to jump on the Solar App and all that kind of stuff. And then there's grant money available to move towards Solar App. And I would love to do that. We just can't right now because our permit processing system would have to be Energov, is what we call it. Would have to be changed to integrate the solar app, but we're going through a broader process. We looked at other permit processing systems with IT. We've personalized Energov so much that it's kind of inefficient. So we're looking at rebooting the whole thing with IT and coming up with a more modern, streamlined system. So for that reason, we don't yet know how solar app would connect to that newly developed system. So when we say we can't do it yet, it's not because we're not interested. We're not trying to blow off the advocates of solar energy. We're just not at the point yet where we can make that decision. We're keeping that in mind. Of course, we'd like to be able to integrate solar app, but we're not yet at the point in that big project to be able to figure out how that's going to fit in.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you further explaining where we are in the process. I know Heidi has basically explained something similar, but this helps me to better understand. Any support that we can provide, please let us know. I think, is there anything else that anyone would like to say? Lorenda, would you like to say something?
I guess I'll just say both of these are examples of the way that the county works to continuously improve what we do and make things easier and better for residents. So in the case of SolSmart, make it easier for people to recognize that we are open for business for solar, that there's an easy permitting process, that it's easy to find, easy to get to, and more accessible than it was before. And then in terms of what facilities is doing, they're being good stewards of county resources. They're trying to save not only money, but also water, improve air quality, and those kind of things. And that is just a demonstration of what these folks do every day. And it's great to see you all recognized with these kind of things. So thank you.
Thanks, Lorenda. Thank you very much. So at this time, I will pause for a couple of minutes, take a picture. We have that little thing there. And I'm also going to respectfully ask our facilities folks to come on up. We don't have a visual, but we could. I think if we post this on the county website, we can indicate that we're also making progress regarding building energy efficiency.
And we will be getting some door plaques as well. We just haven't received them yet.
We look forward to the door plaques. Thank you. We'll pause for 5 minutes. Okay, pause once again to take a couple of pictures. We received some silver level award designations regarding building energy efficiency and also as a SolSmart community, which is a good thing if for those who are interested in renewable energy, especially solar renewable energy. We are now at that place in our agenda for the county manager update, and I'm sure it'll be a great one.
I think it is a great one this week. I get a chance to talk about our Innovation Awards. So about 11 years ago, the county really began to recognize and reward innovation and continuous improvement. This program has evolved over the years, and this year there were 23 submissions by county staff members and teams who had done just amazing things. Last week, we got to recognize the three top winners. Our grand prize winner was our Youth Crisis Response Team co-responder unit for the Thompson School District. It's a partnership between our Sheriff's Office and the Thompson School District, and there's a co-responder who is a Summit Stone employee assigned to that work. That team has really prevented some very serious things from happening in Loveland, support those children and youth. I say children because they work from elementary school all the way up to high school, and it's been such a great experience for, I think, for everyone involved. It was great to recognize those folks. And then we had two very different kinds of recognitions. One was called Dream On. It's our mattress recycling program that happens at the landfill. Some staff members got together and realized there's a better way to do this, and they found a resource that will take this material and they have been recycling mattresses that would stack about 2.5 miles high, which is, I think, a statistic that was very impressive to me, just what they've been able to do thus far. And then our Community Justice Alternatives Program has an employee committee that takes suggestions and makes recommendations to the leadership of that department. And that group was recognized for the good work that they've done in just supporting the culture of community justice alternatives. So 3 very, very different award winners. It was great to recognize them, and the rest of the 20 applications and nominations were phenomenal as well. It's too bad everyone can't win an award, but everyone can certainly be recognized, and it's a good opportunity to do that. Aside from that exciting activity, I met with several municipal leaders and other organizational leaders across the county region over the last week. I won't name them all, but it was really an externally focused week last week, aside from this great award ceremony.
Thank you. Thank you, Lorinda. Colleagues, any questions or feedback for our county manager regarding her update? Okay, we appreciate all the good work you do here and in the community. We'll now move to commissioner activity reports. Let's see, let's begin with Commissioner Stevens, if you'd like to share anything.
Sure, I'll be brief. I had a virtual listening session last week that went very well. It seems like people like an option where they don't necessarily have to leave their house. I think it's really good for people who have mobility issues or live in further parts of the county. We talked a lot about some of the broadband that applications we might be applying for in the Masonville area. So a lot of folks from Masonville, and then really talked about some of our housing policy. So that was great to share. And with regard to housing policy, Neighbor to Neighbor had a fundraiser on Thursday night, a Welcome Home fundraiser. The commissioners were all there. It was a great night to sort of celebrate the work that they're doing, try to raise some funds. They wanted to raise funds to help 75 people stay in their homes, and they raised enough for 85 families to be able to stay in their homes. So that was a great success for them. And just want to, just say thank you to them for the work that they do in the community. There were representatives from not only Larimer County there, including our housing stability manager, but representatives from the city and from Care Housing, and Sister Mary Alice Murphy was there. And so really a lot of the champions of housing were available at that event to really bring home the idea that housing is so crucial in our community. It's something we hear about all the time. So really glad to be at that event. Of course, we had our budget public meeting on Saturday. That went well. We had members of the public who ask great questions and engage with us on the budget, and want to let folks know that there'll be some upcoming opportunities to do that. So please be in contact with us if you would like more information about that. And that is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Shedak McNally.
Thank you, Lorinda, for your report, and I appreciate all the work that you do. I had my National Association of Counties Environment, Energy, and Land Use Steering Committee last week. I'm starting a new term. I'm grateful to be reappointed to the National Association of Counties that steering committee and the Rural Action Caucus. Very great and hardworking groups, and very grateful to be reappointed to both of those. I had, and that was on Tuesday. I chaired the Loveland Urban Renewal Authority board meeting on Tuesday night. We were able to keep it within the time frame, and the budget was approved, and we're working on an RFP for a audit of the board, and so that is going to be looking at the end of October when we start to look at some of those results from that RFP. So lots of work happening there. The next day. We had been up at the beginning of the Sonoran Institute Water meeting, and I ended up going up to Estes Park to join the folks they were planning and working, and I spent 3 hours up there working with them on the action steps and the vision statement, and it was great to work with staff and have those discussions at Estes Park, and great work that I had mentioned before, and then I had my Rural Action Caucus the next day, so it was really great to join both those meetings for the first time. And then I had meetings with Estes Park Mayor Gary Hall, and it was great to have continued discussions as him and I continue forging our relationship, and we have a lot of great conversations. I wanted to just share, I had a really great broadband update with Mark Pfeffinger, who's kind of leading that program as we are getting ready to look at the BEAD programs and what's available. And it's been great to work with him for all these years, and just the work that he's done to get us to this point where we have gotten some of these capital improvement projects, the work he's building relationships with those around the community and our partners, and now be in this position to go for some of this money is just tremendous, because it's a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity for us to get broadband to folks like me who don't have it outside of city limits. It's really something. When my broadband even went down this morning, I could not work this morning, and when I got up, I think sometimes folks will forget what a privilege that is to have working internet and broadband. I hear from folks a lot that live out beyond city limits who don't have that opportunity, or have ones that are bounced off mountaintops that is not reliable. And so I just really still want to push for equity in closing that digital divide for all of our residents in rural parts of the county. I've been meeting with the state forester again. Lots of great opportunities to talk with him. This week I'll be attending the National American Foresters Conferences at the ranch and at Embassy Suites, and I'll be crashing that just to hear a couple of those speeches from him and others that I have learned a lot from, and so I'll be looking forward to that event out at the ranch and Embassy Suites. I attended the Poudre Fire Authority TSU Canvas Stadium 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. I saw my colleague there as well. I want to thank CSU President Amy Parsons, the CSU Police Department and Fort Collins Police Department, the students, the CSU ROTC, and Poudre Fire Authority, who organized this and opened it to the public. It's the second year it's not been open to the public until this year, and there was hundreds of people. It was moving to see how many folks from the Sheriff's Department and even our Larimer County Rangers came to walk and brought their families. And unfortunately, I couldn't walk fast enough so I could get it done. I got 3.5 loops done. I'm sure my colleague got all 5 done. But I had to get down after that and have time to get down for the Loveland 9/11 Memorial with Loveland Fire and American Legion in partnership with the Thompson Valley Emergency Services and Loveland Fire Rescue Authority. And it was lightning and raining as we headed down, so I want to thank and give a shout out to Loveland Mayor Jackie Marsh. It's usually held outside with a large flag at the lagoon, and it was raining, and so they were going to cancel it, and she said, no, we're going to figure this out. And she got permission and quickly opened the building, and it was held inside city chambers. And so I appreciate her quick action to make sure the hard work of the Legion and those who volunteer to were able to continue and still have that event. So it was really moving, and it's great to have the opportunity to attend both events and be involved. We had the Northern Colorado Health Network had an open house here in Fort Collins, and that is some of the grant recipients for the Regional Opioid Abatement Council. So it was great to go and tour and get a hands-on look of how their nonprofit and how that center works. And I appreciate just such the warm welcome, the details, and it was great to talk with them and have that conversation. I want to shout out to the college interns that have been working with me. They have been high school interns. I had a goodbye luncheon with them, and they're off to college, and they are so excited because the more they learn about what the county does, the more they love local government and appreciate the work that they didn't realize before as students, and now they're big fans, and I really appreciate the work that they're doing to help people understand local government and the things that we do. And then I had the Office on Aging Advisory Council meeting here at Blue Spruce, and that was a really important meeting for sharing the OLLI program, which is a program for education. It was really a fun and an energetic conversation. The OLLI program is through CSU, and it's for online learning and continued learning for older adults, and they have a catalog. And it was really exciting to see all the things that they offer and how things sell out. And one thing they shared is their class on clouds and things like that is so popular. They have volunteers that come out and teach on clouds from CU, and I was looking through the catalog, and it's OLLI, and I was like, wow, I want to take these classes. So if you haven't learned about that or hear about that, that's through the Aspens program, and it was very exciting to have that presentation, and I look forward to maybe joining some of those folks as well. I also went to the Neighbor to Neighbor Welcome Home benefit. That's a really important organization. I attended also their benefit up in Loveland a couple weeks before, and so they were also able to reach their goal that night and held. So with that, between those two events, they've been able to do over 110 families have been able to keep housed, and I think that's a remarkable number for between both events. And so both communities helping support that work. And I had a really great time talking to some community members and board members of that great organization, and I appreciate the work that they do. And Kelly Evans is just energetic, and she had a twisted ankle because of her dog that day, and she still came all taped up with her ankle, and that's resilience and perseverance for sure. And then Innovation Awards, just congratulations to all three teams. What an amazing group, and just really inspiring just the work that they're doing. Our budget meeting, I appreciate the good questions from the people that attended, and thanks to the Puda Library for hosting us and letting us be there. Pastels on Fifth it was a very busy day on Saturday. Pastels on Fifth is a fundraiser for Alternatives to Violence, and it's a great community event. I sponsor a square there personally. It's downtown. I think they're still visible on the sidewalks, but it's free sidewalk chalk art. Hundreds of people come and see this chalk art. If you go social media, you can see just the beautiful pieces. It's amazing what they do with chalk on sidewalks. It's just beautiful art. And they had a lot of great music and resources and a little farmer's market. And right a couple blocks away was an event that we sponsored as commissioners, the Heart and Soul Latin Heritage Month event, which was well attended, great music. The dancers from the Aztec Fusion group, I can't even pronounce the first name, were amazing. They're just gorgeous costumes, great dances, great music. And then they had a car show this year, which I was asked to judge, which I had to do some homework to make sure I understood all the importance of what details for car show. And then again, great music and information, and thanks again to Heart and Soul for the work that they do. Got to see the game a little bit, and then I ran up to Estes Park for the EVIX annual fall gala, which was to raise money for that Family and Child Care Resource Center. And really want to thank Rut Miller and her team, and it was well attended, really great conversations about families and communities of color in Estes Park and other working families and the need for childcare and supporting those families. And thanks to Seven Keys Lodge for hosting and having, they had authentic paella, and then the community from EVIX made authentic flan, which was delicious, and it was great to have those conversations and talk about the needs of the community, and that was really exciting to have that opportunity. And that's all. I just want to thank all the hard work that they all done. Oh, and yesterday we had the Windsor Fire strategic planning process, which I attended, and we were there with Captain Keaton and Sheriff Under Sheriff Shellhammer and Larry Hodges, our OEM. As we sat down to start, all of a sudden the fire. They said we got to go. The fire was starting, and so it was just interesting, the timing of all of that. And then I spoke to the Loveland Disability Advisory Committee last night where they wanted to learn more about Longview, and I had lots of great questions, and my 20-minute presentation ended up being an hour. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair. It was a great week in Larimer County. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll just mention a couple of things to amplify the event at the Canvas Stadium on 9/11. It was called the 9/11 Stair Climb, and the idea was that if you did 5 repetitions up and down the stands, that was the equivalent of 110 stories, which is what the World Trade Center towers are, 110 stories. So it was a very powerful event. And yes, for the record, I completed the 5 repetitions. I also, the things that we all attended together were wonderful events. I don't think there was a reference to the, on Monday, I think we also participated in the Visit Estes Park presentation at the town hall. This is an annual process, their operating plan. So there was a good discussion with town trustees and members of the board of Visit Estes Park. They are the marketing district, and they are the ones that collect the lodging tax. And the voters approved an increase, I think, of about 3.5%, and those funds go for child care and addressing workforce housing issues. On that note, I also attended the County Economic and Workforce, or the Workforce Development Board meeting on Wednesday morning, and the main presentation, and this is an example of the executive summary, something called NOCO Works. I believe I left copies of the executive summary with my colleagues, essentially further identifying that the 3 main barriers to participating in the workforce in a meaningful way, keeping a job and advancing are, no surprise, the cost of housing, transportation costs, and certainly the cost of child care. So this is a great report. The actual report, I have a copy in the office, but folks should be aware of that. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that our transportation funding sales tax initiative that we have referred to the ballot is attempting to help with at least one of these barriers regarding transportation costs. Approximately 70% of people, residents and employees, commute outside of where they live to go to their jobs. So there's a lot of regional travel, and that contributes to air pollution and things of that nature. I think the only other 2 things I'll mention that I attended, I did the story time at the farmers market on Saturday. It coincided with a very fun and interesting event put on by our Larimer County Clerk and Recorder. I think it was called License to Marry or something along those lines. And they had it all set up, and folks could come in and get married, get a license and all the rest. I think I recall maybe 42 couples, somewhere around there, came in. So it was really a lot of fun. Love was in the air. We were all happy for a moment. And then from there I went to the, if you haven't been, the renovated Carnegie Library by the Old Town Library after we had our budget town hall and after I did the story time. They had a really excellent photo exhibit, 38 photographs that were taken of people who are immigrants in our community. Some of these folks have lived here for a long time. Some are new residents, but it was a really excellent event of photographs, and people had quotations, and So that was very nice. I think that's all I have to share at this time. It's 10:31 a.m. We are adjourned.